Well, I got a request to do a video on how to change the boots on axles. Firstly, I'll tell you a little bit about them. Usually when they break, they split right down here in the middle on one of these. And by the time you notice it, all the grease is gone, at least for me. And the axle's making noise, and there's a bunch of dirt in there, and it's not worth replacing the boot. So I just buy the whole axle. It's usually what I do, because the axle's like 50 bucks, and the boot's 15, so usually the axle's ruined before you even notice that it's torn. But if you can manage to get there early enough, what you'd have to do first is cut these two bands off and then cut the boot off. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, now that you've got your clamps off, I used a snips for the big end, and I used just a chisel for the little end, a couple of chisels. Right now you can cut the boot all the way down and just pull it off. I'm going to try to save this boot, maybe use it on a farm car, because it's just got a little hole in it. It's not split all the way around, so I'm going to try to save it. We'll see what happens. But once you got that, you can slide this boot down or off, or however you want to do it, and then I'll show you what you get. Alright, now with the boot off, this is what you get, a whole lot of grease. So you got to clean off all this grease, and try not to get any dirt or anything in it if there isn't already. So you get that all nice and cleaned up, and then I'll show you what to do. Well, now I've got it cleaned off a little more so I can see what I'm doing. Normally you would clean this all the way, shiny metal, the whole 9 yards, because normally if you lose a boot, your grease will look something like that instead of that. That one's nice and clean, and I know it didn't go for very long with a hole in it, so I'm just going to leave that grease in there. It should be fine. So you got something like this, take it all apart, clean everything, and then put it back together. Well, now that you've got the axle all clean, you can turn the axle around and you'll find one spot that has a hole in it, almost like a little access point. And inside there you'll see there's a little clip. Oop, I lost my light. Now, a little clip slides around like that, right there. So what you want to do is grab two screwdrivers, and you're going to wedge them in there and pry it apart, pry it open, and then pull, and this part will come off the shaft. So I'll go ahead and do that. Well, now as you can see, I got it out. That right there is the groove it rides in. The clip's still in there, so right now it'll just pull off like that. That's what you're left with. Now once you get this, you should really go in there and clean everything, and clean the shaft, and then we're ready for the next step. Well, now that you've cleaned your CV joint thoroughly, like I have not, you can take a small needle nose pliers and you can pull that little clip off. And then you can open up your new package with the boot in it. It should come with a boot, a large clamp, a small clamp, and a new clip. Mine also comes with cotter pins for the ball joint and tie rod end, but I don't need that. And a bag of grease. So once you've got all that, you can go ahead and slip the new boot on. Make sure to put this new clamp on there first, and slide that onto here, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, now I've got the boot on. I've slid it all the way up to where the old one used to be. I've got my clamp on. I made sure I put that on first, and I've gone ahead and I've installed that little clip in there. So now all it is a matter of pushing this into there, and it'll snap, and you should be good to go. Alright, well, now the axle is snapped in there, the shaft is. You should feel it snap, and then you shouldn't be able to pull it apart, and that's how you know you got it. Now the next step is go ahead and cut the corner off that bag and put the grease in there. Use the whole bag, and then you can slide the boot over the top of this and put the band on, and you're done. Now I usually like to work as much of the grease into the joint as I can, and then I'll put the boot back over the top. I can put the clamp on. I don't have the tool to clamp this, but it's just like a little crimper thing that goes over the top, crunches it down. Both sides are the same. Let's see if I can open that up. Yeah, well, you get the idea. You crimp those down, and she's good to go. Well, Now, since I'm not using it in the car right away, I'm just going to put it in the box and put it on the shelf for now. I'm going to go ahead and leave these bands off until I get the right tool, and just put zip ties on there to hold it together for now. This is not how you'd want to put it in the car, obviously. And that's how you do it. Now, with all that being said, I never do these. I always just replace the whole damn axle, because usually by the time you notice it's split, the joint's screwed anyway, 9 times out of 10. And in the one rare instance where you can save an axle, you'll save maybe 30-40 bucks. Maybe. These axles aren't horribly expensive, so it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. I wouldn't. I did it on this one because I knew when the hole was made, and I knew it wasn't driven much, so I knew the joint was okay. Well, I hope that helps.